Welcome to the next episode of Rapid Fire Insights. My name is Dave McCall. I'm your host for today, and this is my co-host Chris Hanna, the all-in solopreneur. Today, our guest is Councilor Renaldo Agostino, Ward 3 Windsor City Councilor and fellow business owner. And we're going to have a bunch of questions for Renaldo today, and we're going to try and get some quick answers. With this show, it's kind of curiosity meets velocity, so we're going to keep things fast-paced, and we're going to just kind of get things going here with Chris.
Renaldo, talk to me about being a counselor. What drove you to be that?
You know what? I've been downtown for a really long time, and the previous counselor announced that he wasn't going to be continuing on. So I thought, you know what? I've always kind of been talk to talk and walk to walk and put my money where my mouth is, and I felt like I had a lot of good things to contribute to downtown, more than I've already contributed, and I wanted to take that next step, and here I am.
Yeah, it's a big step to kind of jump into that. Like, I'm sure there are people who were saying like, "Oh, are you sure you want to make this leap?" And then there's those who are probably really supportive as well. But then, how do you push past the naysayers and the people who maybe say like, "Oh, are you sure you want to kind of put yourself in that spotlight?"
You use it as a driving force rather than negative impact. So,
See, I love that. I love that.
Nice.
you know, when you say no, I say yes. When you say it can't be done, I
You
say
show
no.
them it can.
That's
You
right.
got it.
That's been my entire life, though.
Well, and then you've also been, so you're a counselor, but then you're also an entrepreneur. Talk to me about like the business side of what you do too.
Well, I've obviously been in the entertainment industry for the last 35 years of my life here in Windsor. I've really slowed down with we had an establishment at the mall. We closed that at the end of our lease. And the operation downtown that exists, I'm not involved in anymore. But I still am involved in the entertainment business as far as concerts, events, shows, a lot of those things I'm still keeping myself involved in, only because, being a city councilor doesn't pay much. But, I dedicate my time 24/7 to my job. I try and put as much time into being a downtown councilor as I can. I get that I don't have to, but unfortunately with my ward, I have demands that, for example, other wards could never see. Most wards deal with potholes and, a complaint here and there from a resident. I probably get 20 to 30 phone calls or messages a day. I've got so much going on downtown, and that's okay. I'm not against it. It's what I knew I was getting myself into, and it's where my heart is right now. So I want to try and do the best possible job I can for as long as I do it.
Now,
What
quick
are some of
question,
the com?
Renaldo. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, what are some of the common things that you're seeing in your ward that you're getting lots of calls about?
I'd say 75% of what I get calls about is the homeless situation that's happening downtown. Um, Everything else is, building permits. I do get a lot of potholes, cracked roads, problems in our parks. It's nonstop for me. I put up a post yesterday asking for some suggestions from the community for homelessness, and I got we're probably over 260 responses right now on that post alone, and I try and read every single one.
Now, you knew that when you were, putting in for Ward 3, downtown Windsor, that there was obviously problems down there. Did you have a game plan going in, or was it just, you wanted to just kind of reach in there and create things organically, or was there a plan from the get-go?
No, I had a game plan. I think I was really transparent with the community, with the voters. I had a game plan going in. Some people don't like the game plan, but it's nothing is solid. Everything is very flexible with me, but I do have a vision and a direction that I want to take downtown in, and together with the DWBIA and the rest of the city council, the mayor's office, I've been able to. Someone said to me the day I got elected, "You'll be lucky if you got 2 things done during your term." I think I've already got 6 things done, and then today I just knocked down number 7. So it's like, for me, it's I want to try and get everything done that I promised the people I would do, and that's where I'm trying to take it.
I know that you're bringing in the teens. I read that you're bringing in a group of youth to kind of help the downtown situation. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I'm not really fully up on it.
Yeah, they're the Red Frogs, so it's peer-to-peer assistance. I've been using them for years at the university for university events and down on the riverfront. It's about 25 young people that'll be out on the streets that'll be assisting young people at the end of the night. It's part of an overall exit strategy that I'm working on for downtown Windsor for one of the other issues that downtown suffers from. And that's, the hospitality industry leaves a lot of remnants behind when the doors close. And through my experience, I know that there's a lot of ways that we can support that, not only to make the lives of the people that live downtown and the business owners better, but the party goers, the people that are going to bars and clubs. It's sometimes as simple as a girl lost her cell phone, or somebody needs a walk to their car, or somebody needs them to call them an Uber, or somebody needs to give them a bottle of water or some snacks to sober up. That's what the Red Frogs is doing. And that pilot program, I believe, starts next week. But every week we're trying to do big things. Today we announced that we're building a outdoor beach volleyball court in downtown Windsor, and we're leaving it there. It's staying there permanently. Well, not permanently. We signed a 3-year lease where we got Mr. Khan, Mohammed Khan, who owns a vacant piece of land right on Olet Avenue. We got him to donate it to us, and we're going to maintain it. We're going to put up the beach volleyball court. We're going to host a tournament down there in 3 weeks. So we're moving rapidly. No pun intended.
Well, I know that you're trying to really, make downtown more of an attraction, bring more people down, more events down, make it more family, oriented. Aside from the volleyball and some of the events you're putting on, is there a game plan for growing that family feel?
Well, the entire ward is family feel. The game plan right now in round 1, 2, and 3. And that's how I equate this to. It's like a 12-round fight. What are we going to do in the early rounds? How are we going to work down our opponent? In the early rounds, what I've got to do is give investors the confidence to come back downtown. Because when you look at our downtown from the overall scene, there's too many empty spaces down there, right? And some of the empty spaces, like we did today, we can deal with on our own, as long as the owners of those properties are willing to cooperate. And some of them are. You just got to bring them an idea, right? I don't want to be the guy that sits on the sideline and says, you're not doing anything with your property. You're not doing anything with your property. No, I'd rather come up with an idea, approach you and say, hey, here's what I could do with this. And there's quite a few properties we're working with downtown where we want to do some stuff like that. And, having the BIA is a good vehicle to help do that is a great win for us, because I don't have to take everything back to city council when there's an idea. And they're not all my ideas. We've got a great crew of people on the BIA that are coming up with a lot of cool stuff. But for downtown, really, it's safety first. And by creating more of an atmosphere down there, by bringing more people down there, it's going to be safer. And, hopefully we'll have an announcement within the next week or two with the video cameras we've been working on down there, where we've been able to find a way to get that done. So for me, it's constantly adding to the product of downtown Windsor. I look at it just like a business. I don't look at it from this political wing I look at it as downtown Windsor for the next 4 years is my business, right? And I got to do everything every day to make sure that my business is ready to operate, and clean, beautiful, and safe is the 3 things I stick to.
I think that's incredible what you're doing, and clearly you can tell there's the passion that you have to really help and make an impact for the community, and you're doing it, I think, at such a quick pace, which is I think a great segue to this next segment that we get to. We're gonna go rapid fire style here with you, and we're gonna throw some questions at you, quick, fast. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, David, you ready?
I'm all set.
All right, let's go. All right, first question. How would you describe your leadership style in one word?
Aggressive.
Aggressive. What's one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self before you started your first business?
Don't give up.
What advice would you give to yourself if you could go back in time before your counselor journey began? What advice would you give yourself?
Work harder, work faster, work smarter.
There you go.
Like that.
What's the most rewarding part of being a counselor for you?
Making people happy.
Why have you stayed in the entertainment business?
I love to make people happy.
Nice. Are you a book reader?
Sort of. Not going to read 1,000 pages every 2 weeks for city council. I consider that a book.
Yeah. Is there any sort of book or any sort of whether it's course, video, something that stands out to you that's been so motivational that you think everyone should probably see or read?
I just got back from AMO in London, Ontario, listening to the mayors and a lot of the administration from other cities talk about the challenges and what they're doing to face those challenges head on. That's to me, that was good.
What advice would you give to people to, when they're facing challenges and they're facing stress and uncertainty of how to handle what's kind of coming their way?
No matter what happens, the sun comes up every day.
Love that. What's a common misconception that you want to, really you want to curb right now when it comes to counselors or any politician?
Oh, geez, the biggest one is that we're in it for the money.
Right. What do you think has been one key strategy that's helped you thrive over the course of your career?
Bringing people together rather than trying to separate them apart.
Beautiful. Love that.
Absolutely.
How do you balance multiple priorities at the same time? Because you have, as you said, there's lots of people who are, contacting you every single day. You've got demands on the business side. You've got for the city you're trying to help out. How do you balance it all?
I think the most important thing is you got to have different outlets. You gotta have people around you that care. But the most important thing is you, just like anything else, when you got high stress, high impact job, whether it's being a politician, whether it's being a caregiver at a hospital, whether it's being an athlete, you got to make sure you take care of yourself and treat yourself right, and try and stay on schedule. That's the most important thing.
Excellent advice. What do you think more Windsorites should pay attention to right now? What's something that they should be thinking a lot about?
The environment, for sure. You can see that there's been some changes over the last couple years that none of us have seen in our lifetime, and it's worrisome to me, and I'm sure it's worrisome to a lot of people.
Is there a leader that you admire, and who would that be and why?
Mostly my mom.
Nice.
She was the toughest person I've ever met. But I follow like, to me, this is, it's really a study now. And I try and study and pay attention to everybody. I'm friends with everyone, and I try and learn from everybody, whether it's Brian Massey, Doug Ford, Lisa Gretzky. I talk to everybody. Eric Kuzmerchik, who's a great guy. Drew Dawkins. I love Eddie Francis. Fred's a good dude. Like, I'm surrounded, like, we're all good people. I look at like politics as we're all trying out for the same team, just different positions. And some of us are going to win and some of us are going to lose. But regardless, we're still on the same team.
Yeah, that team mentality. When you think about the entertainment business, live or dead, who's somebody that you would love to sit down and just, have dinner with?
Geez, I've had dinner with so many amazing people. And when you're around, people don't understand when you're around the most famous people, you understand why they are so successful, because they're just different beings. Is
there one person that stands out that you'd love to be with, though?
I enjoy my most time with Richie Houghton, for sure. I've had dinner with him before, and I'd love to have more. I've had many dinners with Rich, and Rich is just such a smart guy, and just his vision of the world is so much different than everybody else's, but so on point.
Nice. What do you think is one trend that's going to help shape the future of other entrepreneurs that are out there?
Just everything is cyclical, what goes around comes around, and what was old is new again. And I think as long as you keep your head in the game and try hard, you'll be successful.
Last question. What do you know now that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
Oh, geez, that's the hardest one. What do I know now that I wish
Hardest
I
for
knew?
last, yes.
I wish I knew more about the people around me, understanding more of how the world outside of mine operates, so that I knew how to fill those spaces a little better than I have been. Navigating other people's spaces is something I've never had to do. I've always been in my own bubble and controlled my bubble as a business person, but now I have to navigate in other people's spaces. So I wish I would have learned back then what I'm learning now, because it would have made me more prepared.
So insightful. Like, thank you you survived the round. How do you feel? I was throwing them at you pretty fast there.
Handle 20 more if you're ready.
But I think, like, yeah, you touched on an interesting point on that last one, right? About, trying to live in other people's spaces. And I think, like, that's the thing where, like, there's that level of empathy that's so required for anybody in your position that you have too. So, you're hearing, things from all angles, whether people are contacting you, like, text, email, Facebook, or in person. Everyone's got a story, and I'm sure you hear a lot of that, but also to have that level of empathy is so important and required too.
Yeah, you got to be able to listen. You got to be able to listen. You got to be able to understand that, just this morning, I was downtown, and a gentleman came up, and he was just so upset because he saw, 4 homeless people making a mess just across the street in the university, and the guy was absolutely furious to the point that I think anybody else who would have seen it would have said, "You're overreacting, you're insane. Stop yelling." But I understand that. Listen, this guy's probably been seeing this for a year, 2 years, 3 years now, and he's just incredibly frustrated. But you know what? Years of working at a bar till 3 o'clock in the morning, I've seen a lot of that, right? So it's handling different personalities and understanding that everyone's got the same goal, vision. They just do it in different ways. And
Renaldo, quick question. Because of your position and downtown, I'm sure you hear a lot of stories of the people who, are homeless down there, and I'm sure you've talked to, more than a few. How do you deal with their stories and the emotions that come from that? I mean, there's a lot. Everybody's got their story and their background as to why they are where they are. How do you deal with that? I mean, that would be extremely stressful.
It's difficult for me in particular because, surprisingly enough, I happen to know quite a few of them because being in the entertainment industry for so long, when you run into, I ran into a lady last week who used to hang out at Boom Boom Room, and she's become addicted to fentanyl, and she was just scouring the floor looking for this small piece of fentanyl that she couldn't find. And while I'm trying to communicate with her and ask her what's wrong, she's telling me how, she's trying to get this needle that will give her a 3 months of reprise from the addiction, but she can't find her health card, and she needs her $20 fix. And it's difficult to see people that know you that are suffering that need help. And I didn't remember who she was, but she sure remembered who I was. And she started off naming friends who she used to hang out with, and and she started telling me her story, as convoluted as it started getting, because she was slipping in and out of being understandable. But I knew exactly what she was getting to, that she hadn't seen her kids in a year, and that she became so addicted to these drugs. And that's, to me, that's, I understand there's so many different issues that are happening in our core, and sometimes we default to, well, it's just homelessness, but it's not. There's people that are homeless because they don't make enough money, but there's also people that are homeless because they're so addicted to the worst drugs that you could possibly ever imagine. And we got to figure it out. It's not all going to be one silver bullet. There's got to be different solutions for different problems. And sometimes I worry that we group the same problem under the same umbrella, but it's not. It's not.
It's just so easy to group it all together. Because then we can group it together and just sort of, put it away in our in the back of our minds and say, well, yes, it's just homelessness, or it's just that. But yeah, everybody's got their story. Everybody, everybody's where they are from life choices and life situations, and it's not all so easy and black and white. It's really not. And I give you full marks for taking that burden on yourself, because you knew what you were getting into when you put in for Ward 3, and what you were going to be facing, and I give you full marks for facing that head on. Absolutely.
Well, and if you think about it, like, probably a lot of the experiences that you gain in the entertainment business, in a way, were kind of like a training ground for jumping into the counselor side as well.
Yeah, I like to think my entire life was training for this.
That's right.
That's what I tend to. I think that, I think I'm in the right place, and I think everything that I've been through and everything I've done, and the amount of sheer patience that I've been able to develop over all the years from dealing with the just insanity of drunk people for 30 years has really put me in a good spot of understanding, and not knowing that the answers aren't as easy as everybody thinks they are. It's going to take a lot of work, and I have full confidence that with the team I have around me and the people in this city, we're going to get there.
Did you find the boxing training helps at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Renaldo is very involved in the Windsor City boxing scene, and I know that there's a lot of youth that you work with in that as well. And helping people to learn to fight and control their minds and control their emotions. I'm sure that has a lot of benefits in both the business aspect and the counseling aspect, learning how to deal with these different confrontations.
Oh, it's learning how to get punched in the face and still keep going.
Yeah, you got it.
And that's sometimes what life is sometimes too, right? Always, right? Last question for you. What kind of final thoughts do you want to leave anybody who's listening to this or watching this episode? What kind of takeaways do you want to kind of give for people?
I think the most important thing is just, try and be a good person. Try and do good things for people. try not to look through this lens of hate and this lens of things shouldn't be the way they are. I hear so many people that say I don't think you know what you're doing, or I don't think I don't think this idea is going to work. But then I say to them, I said, well, what we're doing right now isn't working. So if the status quo isn't working, what's the plan, right? What's happening right now is not working. So we got to try. We can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to get punched in the face, right? If you're afraid to get punched in the face, forget about it. You're just going to curl up like a ball and get kicked around. You got to be ready to take some punches in the face and just keep grinding it and grinding it and grinding it. Anybody who tells you they have the solution, anybody that tells you they know exactly what they're doing from A to B or A to Z is lying to you, right? You get just like anything else. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to fail, and you got to be willing to try again until you get it right. And that's the way I look at this job.
Ooh, that was so good. That's
Fantastic.
what a great way to end this episode, right?
Absolutely.
That was incredible. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for what you're doing for the city as well. Just incredible. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, guys. God bless. Have a
All
good
right,
day.
thank you.
Back to work. Let's go.
There you go. This has been Rapid Fire Insights. I'm Chris Hanna, co-host David McCall. Thank you, Renaldo Agostino, for an amazing session. And continue just to, again, as he said, let's care for one another. And remember, when we get punched in the face, we get punched, get back up, and just keep going. All right. Thanks, everyone. Until next time.